near Washington, D.C. We're involved with scholarships, college fairs, all that type of thing. I have a WordPress website that has been set up by somebody else, and I am in the process of taking it over. And I am currently taking an online WordPress course.
Great. Is that everybody? Do we miss anything? I just give back to. Okay, so everybody, even if you know who you are, go ahead and put on a name tag because not everybody else knows who you are. Before we begin, and I introduce Charles, a few things to take care of, a few administrative things. There is a break area to the left. There's a microwave there, so if the pizza gets cold, please help yourself to the pizza every week, every month. I take home boxes of pizza. I really love pizza, but not that much. Water fountains and restrooms are over there. The ladies' room, just go down the hall. Before you even turn, it'll be right there. Men's room, just kind of go around the corner and then come around there. Exits, there's an exit in the hallway. There are exits through the doors that you came in, and I believe there's an exit down the far end. And I think that's about it. It's a little warm in here, so I'm going to try to leave the door open. And with that, did I miss anything? Any questions? Okay, I'll introduce Charles, which is going to be very brief because I don't know Charles that well. So Charles has been to a couple of meetings. Very happy to have him here. And last month, I twisted his arm and asked if he would maybe do a presentation on Bootstrap because I've just started using Bootstrap myself. So I was really interested about that. And Charles, you are or were gathering from your
I was a project manager here, but now actually got another opportunity to communicate.
Right, and you were at what? Something to Go. I forget the name of it.
Yeah, it's called Punch Out to Go.
Punch Out to Go. But now you're going to Virginia Beach, which is
Yes.
also a very nice place.
Yes. So,
Want me to dim the lights?
yeah, if you could. Sure.
Is that good enough or off?
No, we're good. No, that's good. Okay. All right. Let's see here. So I might be fumbling here because I'm using Windows 8. Ooh, okay. So, all right. So, creating a Bootstrap WordPress name, and I can't spell it correctly. So, it's actually WordPress is nice. Oh, sure. Okay. Good deal. Okay. Well, we're already getting started. Go ahead. Okay. All right. So anyway, what is Bootstrap? Okay. Let me tell you a little bit about me and how I came to deal with it. Okay. Back when I was doing, I was a social media manager for a company in Virginia, in Norfolk for a while. And what happened was I taught myself WordPress from scratch. And that was because although I was starting to do graphic design, I had to start designing a blog. And I didn't really know how to use WordPress. The tutorials were very iffy. This is back in the old Cooper days of WordPress. And I tried a little bit of theming, but found it very frustrating. About 2 years ago, I started learning about responsive design because I hadn't even heard the word responsive design until about a couple years before that. And it was because I'd been out of the web community for a while. And when I got back into it, I started hearing this thing called responsive design with Bootstrap. And I learned what it was. Now the thing is that it's the official definition. I think this is from Wikipedia, official site. A free open source collection for tools for creating website web applications. It contains HTML and CSS-based design, templates for typography, forms, buttons, navigations. And so what you get is, let's go to the other one here. The Bootstrap makes front-end development faster and easier. It's made for folks with all skill levels, sizes and shape, and projects of all sizes. Liars. No, it's actually, it can be very complicated if you don't know what you're doing. Sure.
Go to test your sound again. Because what it is this was done.
All right, let's try it. Let me try one of my videos first.
Okay, so it's still setting up. It's your audio, right?
Yeah, should we?
This isn't a jack, right?
Okay, let's try that one.
1 minute, I'll get this.
Oops.
Checking front, no? So that's good. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually on the meetup site.
Can I get YouTube on here?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Can you
like
fire
I
up
said,
YouTube for me and just get it up there and I'll go.
yeah, I'll go from this thing. There's this link that goes to
All right.
YouTube.
We'll leave it on stack. Okay. Or if YouTube, I can go from there. Okay, that's
Well, you should.
Okay. All right, sorry.
Because one of the perks is getting the streaming link.
Where were we?
What is this?
Okay.
What is this one for?
WordPress. There you go.
All right, back to where we
There
were.
you go.
Okay. The thing about it is that Bootstrap, when they give you, we'll go into a little bit what it is. It's a collection of HTML and CSS that allows you to build responsive sites. It was built by Twitter, and it's a great framework for building a site. It is not a site itself, nor is it a theme. So that's what I get to this one. But Bootstrap is not. It's not a ready-made WordPress thing, because they're a little misleading. Because they'll say, "Oh, you can build a website with Bootstrap for WordPress." That's okay. Okay. But Bootstrap is not. Okay, what it is that it's not a ready-made WordPress thing. You can't download the Bootstrap files, just stick them in WordPress and expect them to work. They have to be connected to a theme. It's the only way it works. And so I've seen some people do that. Well, I put it in my theme directory, it didn't work. It doesn't work that way. That's not how this works. It's not a WYSIWYG. You really have to know HTML and CSS to be able to use it. You can use some tools with it, but I would recommend you really have to know some code in order to do it. You don't have to be a code expert. You kind of have to at least make a little bit of discipline to do that. It's not a pre-made website. Well, kind of half true. You can use it to build a pre-made site, but it's not like a website in a box. You just can't throw it up there or something. It's not one of these ready-made things you can go up there. Nor is it a programming language. Some people will say, I'm fluent in Bootstrap. No, this is not Ruby on Rails. So yeah, there's a little kind of confusion, so because the site itself is kind of mysterious. So. But the thing is, it's also not one thing. It's been forked like crazy on GitHub. There's different variations of it. It multiplies like a virus. Okay, why Bootstrap? Well, it's responsive. And that is, if you build a theme with this, you can use this to move your site around, and you can be able to use it on both like tablets and mobile devices and regular websites without having to build multiple sites. Back in the bad old days, you had to build a mobile version of your site, then you had to build another version of your site, and maybe the two shall meet. Now you can build one site, and it can adapt for a variety of devices. It's still tricky, but you can do that. The world is going mobile. I'm sorry, that's a little obvious, but
Hey, Charles,
yes.
we can't see your slides. Can you switch back to the?
Oh,
We got his desktop, not yours.
just okay.
Thank you.
Can you see that? Can you see that now?
Yeah.
Okay. The world is going mobile. Your site needs to be ready. Bootstrap is popular and supported. So just to cover that, basically, it's a way of building responsive sites. Quick, if you know how to use it, it can actually be pretty powerful and allow you to deploy a site for many different people who are on different devices, whether it be phones, iPads, tablets, even the Kindle devices. Well, how do you build a Bootstrap theme? Well, you have to kind of know how to build a basic theme. You go into the WordPress codex, all the information is in there about all the files you need to know. I'm going to cover a little bit of that here, but basically you kind of have to know how a theme works, and that is the different files that are involved. You have to have a WordPress a development environment with WordPress. You can mess around with Bootstrap code separately in a different environment, but in order to make it work with WordPress, well, you're going to kind of need WordPress. You also have to know where the themes are stored in WordPress. Okay, I don't think anyone's did that much to forgive me, but yeah, some people may be new and they had never had installed the theme before, but at least have to know where to put the themes. Know what code makes the theme work, and that is there's certain pieces of PHP that pull in the posts, pull in the headers, all that stuff. You can find all that stuff in the codex as well. And other parts of the theme, the index, the header, the footer, the styles, which are the elementary parts of a very basic theme. There's other themes that are more complicated that have a whole bunch of files. We're going to do just a basic theme. Okay, where do you get Bootstrap? Well, gee, you get it at the bootstrap.com website. That's where you get it. Basically, again, this is where I confuse some people because they say it's the most powerful framework, but framework means framework. Doesn't mean a theme, doesn't mean a fully built website. It's a framework. And you can just download it right from there. Well, what do you get when you download it? Well, you can go also to this part of the site. This is where it kind of helps you a little bit, and that is you have the Bootstrap theme, which is these are different deployments of the HTML you get. And some of them are basically starter templates. For those of you who are CSS gurus, congratulations, you can just go in there, go crazy, and start building stuff. For some of us who might need a little bit of help here, they have basic like starter sites where the divs are already kind of laid out. and they have particular names that are unique to it. One of them is, okay, so let's go here. Yes?
We have an issue. The issue with this is that this is only one computer. So basically, has a built-in speakers,
Then I'll go
but
with
they're
mine.
not set up.
We're good. Well, I think we're okay.
I got
Okay. All right, no problem.
to find out. Need to get.
Good deal. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay. So what do you get? Well, you see that? Okay. You open it up. You can see this here. You get your CSS, obviously. You get fonts with it. It actually comes now with fonts. It used to come with graphic files. And now you have, there's your JavaScript. And that's basically it. That's all you really get with it. There's not really much of a hand-holding there for you. They just throw this at you and they go to it. So how do you get started? Well, you got a big job ahead of you. Like if you Jumbotron. Jumbotron is one of the things they give you on the get started with Bootstrap. This is a basic layout for a site. It's kind of got the same, has the sort of same way you see with a lot of sites. It's very generic. You have a large section up here where the hello world is. That's the Jumbotron section. It's a large section with a learn more button that's already been styled and already set up. And there's a couple of headings there you have, and those are like sections you could style this any way you want. It's very, very basic. They're not going to give you. I think there are icons and all that do come with it, but I'm not going to mess with those today.
Hey, Charles?
Mhm.
So what is the, go back?
Yes.
So what's, no, not that part, the Jumbotron.
Yes.
So is the Jumbotron a rotator? Is that?
You can make it rotate. It's, on the version I have here, it's just static HTML.
So it's just a big
Box.
box.
You get it's a starter box. It kind of you can put something. There are plugins you can get to swap it out, and so you can put all sorts of stuff in there if you want to. It's kind of just a div space that they've given you for starting to get going. You can go in and style it up. You could add, there are things, sliders you can pop in there. You probably would have to go in there and pop out the CSS and all that to put it in there. I haven't messed with it that far, so there are ways you can go in there and toy with it. I'll show you some. Actually, I have some stuff with that later that you can find out in CodePen and other places where you can mess around with Jumbotron, like just put images in the back. But you would have to, know that. And again, some people, what they do is they just kill it. They just go in there, pull that out, they pop in a jQuery slider or something of that nature, and they go from there. Because a lot of the pre-made, a lot of the pre-made themes you get already have that taken care of. Some of the pre-made themes you actually buy or download, they've killed all of this. They just sucked it out and they just use this to get started. And you're getting very, very basic. They're just using the names of the divs to make sure everything moves around correctly when you do responsive.
So you said GoPen?
CodePen, we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay, and there's those 5, the start template, Bootstrap, Grids, Jumbotron, and there.
Yeah, I've got this is a presentation I put together. It's been a crazy week for me, so I got this together. So I'm going to upload this to Google Drive, and I'll give you. Everyone can get my card. You can contact me if you got any questions or complaints or anything of that nature. So, all right. Well, this can go back to my story here. Here I am about a year or so ago. I want to build a Bootstrap site, and I'm crying tears because every time I go to it, I was Googling around, finding all these different tutorials, and none of them would work. They would work halfway, but like I'd get part of it done, and then they would say, "Here, put this code in here," and then error. And people, all the blogs are full of these angry comments saying, "Dude, did you not finish this tutorial? Like, it's not working for me." And like the guy is, it sounded crickets because this guy has moved on or whatever. He's not feeling it. Well, if I'm going to do a Bootstrap demonstration, I'm going to find somebody who actually built it and made it work, that I can demonstrate that it works. And lo and behold, I found this guy named Neil Rowe on YouTube. He's on Coder's Guide. And he set up a series of 6 simple tutorials of how to do that. So we'll kind of look at those in a minute. Okay, well, what are your basic steps of building a theme? Well, again, you need to install an environment. We're going to start from very basics. First off, you need an environment. If you're lucky enough to have access to a complete web server, congratulations. But if you want to do it, let's say on this laptop, you need something that simulates a web server. So I use a service called WAMP. Now, if you have a Mac, congratulations. I think you come with a web server already built in that comes with CSS, PHP, and all the goodies, and all those goodies. And so the thing is, I use a service called WAMP. There's another one called Vagrant, which I haven't used yet. I heard from one of my other coworkers. But WAMP is what I use right now to run Bootstrap and actually show how it works. Okay, you got to download Bootstrap. That's kind of obvious. But yeah, you just got to try to download the freshest version you can, just because they always change it. Install WordPress. You need to at least have WordPress installed on WAMP. It's actually pretty easy. If you need help, go to YouTube. There's plenty of tutorials on how to do that. We've got to create a blank theme file, which we're going to walk through. You actually have to create a directory for it in the theme directory and call it something, and a blank folder. Then you have to create the blank theme files, index.php, and then you've got to take some of the code from the Bootstrap template for the header, the footer, the sidebar, and the posts. You've got to get that into your theme. So we're going to walk through how to do that. Well, first off, you got to kind of know what a WordPress theme is. WordPress themes, again, here's a kind of a nice diagram from Yoast. There's a header file. That's the part at the top of your theme. There's the loop, which is display contents, and you can toy with that all you want. There's all sorts of things you can do with the loop. You can have display 1 post, you can display 20 posts, you can change the date. There's all this code. The codex, it's your friend. Check it out. There's all sorts of cool stuff in there. Yeah, because the thing is, the loop is a long. I could do two things with this manipulated loop. The sidebar, which is we don't actually. This one will have a sidebar, but it'll be a different type of sidebar. And then the footer, which is of course the bottom of the site. And what it is that the index file you use in WordPress pulls all these separate PHP files together and puts them together as one. So even though it looks like it's one site, it's actually a collection of different footers. You can go in there and change your footer and put anything you want in there. You can take a theme, download it for free, mess around with it, put anything you want there, change the top. And whatever you do, that PHP header file pretty much is independent. Anything that happens in any of the other files, they do not affect it because it's put together that way, so in a modular way. Okay, well, here we're going to try to build our file here. So this is on my computer. You can see I'm in my WordPress directory, WP content themes, my theme. And you can see what I've done is there's the Bootstrap files that were in there, CSS, image, yeah, this one has the image files. And this is an older one. And there's footer, header. I created some blank files. How do you make blank files? Simple. You go into Notepad or something like that. You just call it index, and you put PHP at the end, and they give you a warning saying, oh, you're changing the file extension, that's fine. If it's a blank file, you go in and call it PHP because that's what WordPress reads. And you create a blank style CSS. If you create these files, they'll all have those file extensions, but it's okay because there's nothing in there yet anyway. So let's go into this. Now, here is a Bootstrap. When Neil put up the site, this guy, my new best friend. He actually put up he actually took his own Bootstrap site. He took a variation of Jumbotron and stuck it up there. And he had it was easy to download. And you can download it from his YouTube page. It may give you, by the way, it may give you a warning saying unsecure content. It's, as far as I know, it's been fine. It's just a zip file with all its goodies in there. And it's a very basic Bootstrap setup. It says text site. He's changed the headers and that such. And he's added some random posts. He knows there's only one post. There's only a couple links on the side, and there's only one post title, and it says Lorem Ipsum. None of this stuff is being generated dynamically. It's just all static HTML. And he's added to subscribe a YouTube page. Okay, self-promotion, it's okay. The basics. Well, you can do your design in the Bootstrap code first. So let me get out of my presentation here and kind of take you in. Okay. This is the code I downloaded from Neil. I open it up, and there it is. This is the Bootstrap code. Now, what does responsive mean? Let's go ahead and take a look. I take this and drag it. See how everything's changing and getting all the text is moving down, and I see how the boxes have moved. That's responsiveness. You see, even the little thing up here is turned into a little pop down. Now, if I pull it back out, let's say maybe this is an iPad, and this is maybe a full-size computer. See how they all change? This all happens automatically. That's what Bootstrap does. It allows you don't have to worry about this stuff. You don't have to worry about messing around with JavaScript or this stuff. You can go in, style this stuff, change it up a little bit. It's a little more complicated when you start wanting to do more with it. And but basically, we're just going to build something very simple that allows me to put some dynamic content into these places. But this is what Neil gave me. So I've got to make this into something that works with the theme. Now, right now, this is sitting separately than the theme that is sitting here. Okay, this is actually what I built with it, but we'll get back to that in a second. Let's see.
So there's a download just for that?
There's a download, yeah. This is what I downloaded from him. You can download this from his YouTube page.
Okay.
Now, this is different than what you download from Bootstrap. When you download from Bootstrap, you get no HTML. You just get CSS and all that. Now, there is HTML code. You'll have to go in there, and this is where it gets a little tricky. You'll have to go into the index. You'll have to copy it, put it to an index file, and then you'll have to make sure that it can find the CSS file where all the CSS is. You'll have to change the file extension in there, and I'll show that in a second. And so it can find the CSS, because if not, you'll open it up, you'll take that code, pop it in there, and it'll just be all unstyled HTML with a big mouse. So you need to again have a little bit of knowledge of like, how do I link a CSS file to this? You can do it that way, but then with WordPress, there's another way to do it. So we'll get to that in a second.
So at this point, Charles, we're just doing straight HTML,
Yeah.
no WordPress at all, no PHP.
Yeah, you can just mess around with this. Actually, some people do is they do all the design in static HTML, then they'll start cutting it up for this. That's why he designed this template, because that way he didn't want you to have to go in and mess around with Bootstrap first. He's already done all the work for you. We're just moving that stuff over to WordPress. So let's go here. Okay. So basically what we have to do here, let's get back to our presentation in progress here. Hey, I can finally get fun. Okay, do your Bootstrap code first. You can do that. Divide the page into sections for the WordPress theme file. Part of this code is going to have your header stuff, but you have to make sure you cut it cleanly. If you cut it off and break a div, it's going to look all crazy because you're going to unclose div and all your stuff will go everywhere, and it won't work. And okay, import the code. Okay, and it's basically take the code from the Bootstrap in pieces and put them in the header, the footer, and the index. And then also you have to fix the nav. And we're not going to do the nav tonight because it's actually a complicated thing. You've got to download a separate file, but it's in his tutorial on YouTube. Neil gave me, I don't know Neil personally, but again, I will drive as much track to his site because he gave me a big hand, and I appreciate that. So let's go down a little further. Where's my presentation? There it is. Okay. All right, let's see. Divide and conquer. Okay. Well, the first thing you want to do in here is you go into the CSS folder, and you can see that stuff in red in there. It says import CSS Bootstrap min CSS. What that does is that pulls in the code. Now, this is in the CSS file. It's not anywhere else. And what this does is this will be something that WordPress will be able to read and say, you can pull this in. Now, all this stuff here at the top here, the theme names and all that, this is for me to make sure when I go into the theme directory in WordPress that I can actually see what it is, the name of it. Also, if I put it up on there, you can put the author and name. So if you decide to create your own theme and put it out there, you want to have it that, I created this, here's my website, this is what I created, so you get credit for it if someone goes through your code. Okay, let's see. All right, this is the header PHP code. This is not the entire bit of code. It's actually a quite long piece of code. And you can see, if you speak WordPress or understand some PHP, this is like up here is the title. Can you see my mouse moving?
Yep.
Okay, that's the HTTP. That pulls in the title tag. It's either PHP or WordPress title. You'll notice all throughout here, there's all these little code, WP head, things like, well, not here, so this is just straight CSS. And you see your div class, navbar inverse, navbar static top. That's something that is in Bootstrap that you can pull that's in there that's calling a particular type of navbar. And all these classes have already been defined in the Bootstrap file. There's actually a guide showing you that you can't go in and let's say I want to call it, I want to call my navbar scrambled eggs. Well, there's nothing in the Bootstrap file in the CSS that is named that. And the whole point of it is there's a whole collection of different divs in there and different sized things that you can pick in there. So let's say if you want 4 boxes in a row, there's actually already a setup where all that works correctly. If you want 10 boxes in a row, there's actually, I think, one in here like that. And you can actually create your own, but you don't have to go in there and rewrite your own CSS. It's usually in there. There's a guide on the Bootstrap site showing, let's say, if you want to have a box with 3 boxes at the bottom, then you say, I want 4 boxes. You can change up the code. Just change the name and tell it how many, and it will actually pull in code from the Bootstrap site that actually will do that for you. Now, let's see.
Charles?
Yes.
Does it pull in the media queries for different screen sizes?
Oh, well, the thing is that gets a little more deep into that. What it is that there is JavaScript in there that senses what size your screen is. And so that's what's the great thing about it. You don't have to, if you use Bootstrap and you follow the guide, you can tell it saying, there's actually, that's another presentation really. You can say, all right, I've got a big box here, then I've got 3 little boxes. Okay, when that site gets crunched, shrink down this little box to this size, and you can even have it say at a certain width, get rid of it. Then, and because maybe on a phone, you don't want to have a really tiny image here, maybe you swap it out for another box that actually only shows on mobile devices at a certain width. Then you get your 3 boxes here. You can say, you know what, I want this box on the far left to be the top box, and then all the other ones fall underneath it. Or maybe you'll say, you know what, I don't want to have those boxes show up at all. At a certain width, they all vanish, and I got separate code that pops in and displays a whole different one. true story of when I was doing a company site. We had two different sizes for two different sets of divs for this site I was working on with this other company. And they, what it was, I had to write the text. And I mailed it off to the designers and said, here, put this text here for this particular part of the site, and put this part of this text here for this part of the site. Well, they built one part of the site first, and they used it as a template to build the second part. So when they built the second part, they took the text I sent to the second part of the site and put it in there for the regular website. But for the mobile site, with the one there, they forgot to change it. So I'm looking at the site on my phone when it went live, and when we were actually moving kind of soft live, I'm looking at the pages, and I look at this site here, and the text from one other page is actually showing up on this wrong page. I said, dude, what's going on here? And he said, oh, I'm sorry, we forgot to change the mobile. I said, yeah, you need to remember that stuff. But again, you have to kind of keep track of these things because you can have different types of size divs show up for different widths. So your site, you can kind of dictate how it resizes itself. That's getting deep into Bootstrap. We're not going to cover that tonight. So let's see.
Can I distract you one more time?
Sure.
To get off that page? So just go up one.
Yeah.
So that button that's right there, sort of in the lower quarter of the page.
Yeah.
What is that button for? Is that like that 3-column button or something?
Yeah, those are the icon classes. That's for yeah, that's for the. That's
oh, right. That's the little hamburger.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna see. Yeah, we're gonna see. This, by the way, these are only snippets. I'm just gonna give you. We're actually gonna go in a minute after we get through the PowerPoint. We're actually gonna jump in and actually look at it. So, and here's the footer. Blah 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 blah. So you can get in there container. See again, it starts off with div navbar fixed bottom. So that's the beginning of that div. Then you have the WordPress tags. Like here's a title tag right here, like we saw before. Your content tags. So, okay, now we're at this point in the juncture. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hand this over to my friend Neil, who I've never met. And what I'm going to do is, this is the series of videos is about an hour long, but I took the 3 juiciest videos there were that have a full information. I'm going to turn the volume on this, so he's got a British accent, and it might be a little hard to hear, but you'll be able to see the code clearly on the screen of what he's doing. And what he's going to do is he's going to start off with a blank, with the blank files. He's going to pull the code from the Bootstrap HTML static site, and he's going to put it into the different pieces of WordPress. And it's going to actually do like 90% of what we need to do. So let's see if we make this live.
And then will that be downloadable for themes to start with?
What's that?
Will you be able to then just get that and start with your own?
I think you can, but you have to get a coder's guide. That's not available on the site. But again, all the videos are on here, and it's actually quite simple. That's why I
Sure.
So let me crank this up a little bit here. All right. Can everyone see the video?
Charles, is that as loud as it gets?
Yeah.
Okay,
Can't hear.
so what I've done before, pause it for a second. So what I've done is actually had somebody at one of these computers in the middle run the video, and we go 1, 2, 3. We
Okay.
listen on his, and we watch up here.
Look for make a Bootstrap WordPress theme
Can you-
tutorial.
Can you do that there?
Yeah, make a WordPress theme with Bootstrap tutorial 2.
Where am I going?
You go to youtube.com?
Hey, what's the deal with this spacing? Is it driving anybody else nuts?
Next?
The
What do we-
spacing?
Sarah?
So-
Called make a WordPress theme with Bootstrap 3.
And it's on the coder's guide site.
With-
The coder guide.
It's right up there.
Yeah, he came in here and asked that. Recommend world.
Make a WordPress theme. What is it? Make a WordPress theme with Neil?
Yeah, it's make a WordPress theme with Bootstrap 3 - tutorial number 2.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What number?
Charles, you want to put that there?
Okay.
2?
Okay, ready? 1,
No, we're not ready yet.
2.
Hold on. We've got some ads to go through.
Click play.
Better play until we get past that.
Oh, they're doing it. I'm getting pizza.
Skip the ad.
So what's the loudest to go?
Slow down.
All right, we're 2 seconds in. So can you put yours to 2
Let me see
seconds
if I can
in?
get this
Kind of. We use media player, so. All right.
If you-
Well, here, hang on, here we go.
I don't know if it needs to be exactly.
Okay, now, ready?
Where are you? What? It's 24 seconds.
24 seconds.
Wait, I'm only on 3 seconds.
We'll get one up, but in the meantime, that's where you're going.
Okay.
So we're going to get quite a bulk of it done in this video, so it might be
That was before
at
presentation.
least 10 minutes.
I did.
So what you're looking at right now is just the HTML code,
Right, we're at
which is just
24.
plain HTML for our site. So this is just the design of it.
All right. You want me to keep on going?
Yeah,
Sorry, I
And the
thought it was
bulk of
done.
it, we need to actually create this into a WordPress theme. So remember, on our server, we created a bunch of files, footer.php,
35.
PHP, index.php, style.css. And what I've done is I've gone ahead and opened all of these up here. All of them are empty except the style.css, which we did last time,
42?
in the last video.
45, 46, 47.
Hey, guys,
And
why
then
don't
we
you- everybody just hit stop.
So the first thing we want-
Stop. Okay, go to the very beginning.
Sounds good.
Just drag it to the beginning. We'll all start at 0.
Yes.
Ready? 1, on the count of 3. 1,
On 3 or
two-
after 3?
1, 2, 3, go.
So welcome to the second tutorial in the WordPress theme development series. In this video, we're going to be adding our header, footer, importing Bootstrap, and a bunch of things into our site. So we're going to get quite a bulk of it done in this video, so it might be a long video. I expect it to be at least 10 minutes. So what you're looking at right now is just the HTML code, which is just plain HTML for our site. So this is just the design of it and the markup of it. We need to actually create this into a WordPress theme. So remember, on our server, we created a bunch of files, footer.php, header.php, index.php, style.css. And what I've done is I've gone ahead and opened all of these up here. All of them are empty except the style.css, which we did last time in the last video. And we're not going to be touching that yet. And then we've got these header, footer, and index. So the first thing we want to do is import Bootstrap. So what I've got here is the Bootstrap 3 files. You can just download on the site, getbootstrap.com. And what I'm going to do is open FileZilla here and just drag these into the root directory of our theme. So those are just uploading. This is just in the My Theme folder. And we've got CSS, fonts, and JS in there. And then CSS, I'm going to go ahead and remove this one. It's not needed. We're going to use the main.css one. Same with the JavaScript, we have this one. And we're going to go ahead in our style.css and use that import so that we can get this into our site. So we're going to import it into this style sheet. So add for URL, brackets, semicolon, then here CSS / bootstrap.min.css. And that's just going to import the Bootstrap file into our site. Okay, so now that we've got that done, what we can do now is start copying this code over into our header and footer files. So what we're going to do is go directly from the top and find the end of the navbar, which is just this bit here. That's the navbar there, and then container. And then we're going to copy this. We're copying the container because we want that to be at the head of every single page, and then we'll close it off in the footer later. So I'm going to copy this into the header.php file, save it, and there it is. Okay, so now I'm just going to refresh on my server, FileZilla, and then head over to the site, refresh, and nothing happens. Why? The reason nothing happens is because we need to import this into our index file. This is pretty much the homepage theme. So what we can do is we can include the header and footer with 2 really simple tags. And these tags are built into Bootstrap. They're simply, not built into Bootstrap, into WordPress. Get_header, brackets, and then semicolon, that's just a function. And then we can do a footer as well. And these are essentially just going to include those files. So yes, so it's going to include header.php and footer.php. So now if I refresh, we've got something. Well, not quite what we want, but it's getting there. So if I view this page source, the problem we have here is it's not linking to our CSS properly. And if we go to this directory that's trying to find saying not found. Why? It's looking in the wrong directory. It needs to look in the themes directory. Now, luckily, WordPress has come up with a function so that we can easily get the style sheet URL. So I'm going to hop back into the where is it? Header.php. I'm going to get rid of this Bootstrap one. We don't need it anymore. And then the style.css one, we're going to replace this with a PHP tag.
This is really important here.
And this function is going to be blog info, brackets, semicolon, and inside here, we're going to put style sheet underscore URL. Yeah, built-in function of WordPress, you don't need to worry about how it works. All you need to know is that gets you the CSS file or the location of it. So just re-upload. And now if I refresh, wow, I've actually got something. We are now seeing Bootstrap running and everything, and it looks pretty good. Now we're going to do the same for the footer. So in our index.html, I'm actually going to delete everything that we've already copied over. So from container all the way up, I'm going to delete that just to make our lives easier. And now we want to look at everything that is going to be on every single footer page. So that starts here in this nav bar. I'm just going to drag from here and copy everything going down. That includes the modal for the contact us form. That includes the nav bar as well for the footer. So I'm going to Control X that to cut it out. And then in our footer, I'm going to paste that in there. So done. So now I'm going to re-upload it as before with the FileZilla. And then refresh. There's our footer. Looks pretty good. Now, here's the problem. Our JavaScript stuff doesn't work. So this social media button doesn't work. If I drag it in, this button doesn't work. And this is for the same reason as the CSS file. It's not connected properly. Now WordPress has another solution to this. We can simply, before this, put PHP tags and forward slash here. And here we can just put get underscore template, all lowercase, template underscore directory. Brackets, because it's function, save it, don't forget the semicolon. And re-uploading that, and refresh. And now, it's all working. These buttons now work, so that's pretty cool. So now we're linked up to the JavaScript and also the jQuery on the CDN. Okay, so I'm going to hop back into the header here. There's a couple of things we need to add. The first one is just under the, well, just at the end of the header tag, we're going to put a PHP tag, and this is going to be WP underscore head. And this is just so WordPress knows where it can put the just some of its header stuff that it might need. Now, it generally doesn't do anything, but sometimes it might. The next thing we want to do is make sure that this title can be dynamic so that it will show whatever the page title is as well as the site title, so the name of the site. So this can be done with a PHP tag again. And what we're going to put is WP underscore title, again, built-in function. And inside these brackets, it takes some parameters. The first one is how we're going to separate the page title from the site title. Inside here, we're going to put how we're going to separate the name of the site from the page name. So for this, I'm going to put 2 spaces, and in between, I'll put the line, that line thing. It's kind of at the bottom left of your keyboard.
Oh,
it's just like a line separator. You could put like a dash, or if you want to put a slash, or whatever you want. It could be anything. It can even be a word if you really wanted. But I'm going to put a line thing. If anyone knows what it's called, let me know. The second parameter is basically, it's a boolean. It's a true or a false. Now we're going to set this to true. You don't really need to worry about what it does that much, but it's basically, if you understand PHP, true will echo it out into here, and false will just return the value. So if you know PHP, that's what it means. If you don't worry about it. Just put true. And then we're going to put, this is a string, we can put right. And this is just basically about the ordering of the site name and the page name. So put right in there. You can experiment what right and left do, but yeah, I'm just going to put right. So now I'm going to save all that, press yes, and go into here and refresh. Now we won't see any immediate changes, because we've got nothing inside this index.php file. We've got no content inside it. And we'll be working on this sort of in the next tutorial. One last thing that we need to do is in the footer.php, right down here below our script, we've got the PHP, and then inside here, wp_footer. Essentially does the same thing as wp_head, but anything that needs to go in the footer will go here. So that's it for this tutorial. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe if you found it useful, and I'll see you in the next video.
So yeah, what he did there was basically he set up the index file. Now let's go ahead. We'll go back to my presentation here. I think we'll go further in. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So one of the things that he'll do later on is, let's go back to the book. He adds the Jumbotron code. There's code where basically he takes one post, and there's a way you can write code in WordPress that says, I only want to let one post appear in this box, and we're going to have a little mini descriptions. We don't want the entire post at the top of the page. So there's code you can put in there, and I'll show it to you in a minute, that basically says, okay, here's the name of a post. Here's how much code you can put in here, and he takes that and surrounds it with the code, the CSS code that would make it work in Jumbotron. And then he goes on later on and adds some of the other code. So we could pull up that video, but I'm just going to go ahead and show you what it looks like. Okay, I'm going to show you the site that I built. Okay, this is one I took some text from the book World of Worlds and stuck it in here, and it's a couple of WordPress posts. And I see here, this post here is appearing at the top, but it's also appearing down here. You can see this is the page he sent me, and what I've done here is there are my these are my categories: Earth, heat ray, Mars, Martians, tripods, and then these are sections of the book, like the heat ray. Well, that I made this one up, and so these are sections. If you click on them here and go into it, you can actually read the section. You can see it says they're posted by Charles on April 6th using. There's a way you can. The way this is set up is there's some code here. It's calling the top of the tag. There's some code here calling posted by, and it fills in my name or whoever posted it, and the date. And that's just a way of making sure that the TH at the end appears at the end there, or whatever would be here. And then it puts the entire post in here. And then you have these other things here. There's another section here that pulls in other names of posts. And you can see they react when you roll over. Now, let's go take a look and see how the code actually works, rather than trying to do the video. Okay, so here we are in my theme directory. There's the other themes that you normally do. Here's the one I created. Okay, there's the Bootstrap stuff. There's my footer header and all that. So we're going to go in and explore that. Okay. Okay, so this is the footer. Okay, again, just like I did, he told me to do. I grabbed all that code, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. There's some stuff that pulls from jQuery and things of that nature. But you see, this is all the footer stuff in here, and there's the all this we mentioned here, and it has the contact stuff and all that. So this is, as long as the divs are contained, it won't break. If not, you'll get like things going off broken. You'll know when you look at it. Okay, then let's go look at the header, like he suggested. There is the doc type HTML at the very top, and there's a title tag that he told us to create. There's the meta, things like that nature, and then there's the thing for the hamburger, as it's called, the thing over here, and then the other items over here, Twitter, Facebook. But you see, it stops right there at the end there with the cloud container. So I think I probably chopped off one that I should have, but we'll move with that. Let's see. Now here is the style CSS. All that's in here is the import, like you mentioned, that when you put the CSS here in the index, that thing where it does here, it pulls in the styles. It's in here. That's in index. That's in the header. All right. Okay. All right. So yeah, the style sheet. See it. So yeah, see the blog info directory. Yeah, I think I had to jury-rig this a little bit because the way he did it was not working correctly. But whatever it is, it's calling the style. So there's the import style, where like he mentioned that it does. Now here's the actual index. So let's go through the whole index. Actually, no, that's not the right index. This is the correct index file. Aha, that was the other one for the Bootstrap stuff. So again, there's a header file. Next thing I put in there, this is where it pulls in there. Now here's where the Jumbotron starts, the big round section. See, there's some PHP in here, query post, first code page, there's only one post. You can actually, I could change it to 2 or 3 if I wanted to, but I don't want that. And then I want to see one here. And this is where the loop is. Is everyone familiar with the concept of the loop? Okay, if you don't understand it, the loop is when you put this piece of code into here, this runs like as a loop. It starts at the top and goes to the bottom and then it stops. And what it does is it goes through and says, okay, WordPress, what do you got for me? And you can change the saying. You can say, hey, in this section, I want 5 posts to appear. And as you can see, here's the styling for like, okay, there's the permalink, the title of the post. So this thing is, so when the post title appears here, the permalink for it is actually generated automatically by the PHP. So when you go in here and type in the title and it says War of the Worlds at the top there, if this permalink link wasn't here, it wouldn't work. We couldn't click on it. And if you were to put in a static permalink in there, like HTTP Star Wars, then it wouldn't work anyway. We want WordPress to generate the permalink. So this is then there's an excerpt here that appears, and it creates just a small excerpt. I think you can define it better. And then it ends. So you see it goes. When this gets loaded, it goes. Okay, how many posts? 1 post. Okay, then let's see. If you put the permalink, the title, the excerpt, done. We only want 1 post up there. And then there's the rest of them here. Here's a second loop. See, again, we'll all have posts, permalink, title, and what it is, even though you see 1 right there, there's like 5 on my page because the loop is executing a number of times, and I can change that to say, well, maybe I only want like 3 posts, 5. You can actually define that by things you can put in here. And then there's the time down here where it is. There is F, Y, and there's this weird way that WordPress does that. I want the date, the day with the end or RD or whatever, I'm not going to generate, and the year at the end. And you can actually put the time in there. So you can say this post was posted at 10 o'clock on Friday the 13th, 2000 whatever, and also put the author's name. So, and then you have the footer down here. So this is the entire index file right there. So again, it's pulling from those other files right around there. So you have to be able to take this file, this is the entire Bootstrap file, cut it up into this section and stick it into these various sections and know where to shop. And that's what he basically did. Now, when you go on to the things, once you do it, if you click on those links, they're not going to go anywhere. So you've got to define what's called a single page. And this is the single page. It looks a lot like the index page, but it just has 1 post, a header, and that's it. And you can see here there's a footer. It looks a lot like the index page, but you can see it's a lot shorter. So here's the index. And here's single page. So let's go back into my site. So like I click on War of the Worlds, it takes you to a page. That's what's hitting the single page. If you don't define the single page, you're not going to get that. So all I've done here is create just a handful of files and use Bootstrap, and I already have the large beginnings of the site. So this is, again, this took me about, the tutorials that Neil put up are about 50 minutes. So 50 minutes, and he actually goes further. He actually gets this stuff working at the top, makes all this stuff work. There's some things he's got to do with that. But you can go from 0, having no files, and just the Bootstrap stuff, to having almost a working site. Now, the better you know CSS and the better you know WordPress, the more you can do with this. Now, let's go.
Charles?
Yes.
Before we move on. So the part I didn't follow was, what did you actually stick in single.php?
Single.php.
Did you take something from your original
Yes.
index.html?
Yeah, you basically copy-pasted some of the files from the
Basically everything except the Jumbotron?
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, he walks through that in the tutorial. So yeah, I don't want to go too much because I'll be here forever trying to explain it. So yeah, if there's anything that you need to know more in depth, like how to do particular steps here, all the videos cover that. That's why, I recommend this set, because I went searching far and wide for a decent tutorial of somebody who could not just do it once, but also show you the basic thing, the basic concept. But again, it had to work. Now again, there were some things I kind of had to mess around with that I think some of it, WordPress has changed a little bit. I think this tutorial is about 2 years old. But if you go look at the comment section, generally somebody says, hey, this ain't working, try this. And there's ways of working around that. You can also, I think, contact you if you want to. So that might be a little bit harder. But generally what you can do is you can get a basic working site here where things actually click around, and then you also have your, let's see here. So So you see this one here, Martians. This has got a category. There's 3 posts with Martians. So you see this one actually works now where actually anything that has the category Martian pops up. So this also is working as well. So that didn't take as long. And again, this is where it started off with, which was all static, 1 post, and category 1, category 2, and there was nothing else. So now it actually, the loop from WordPress is in this. And it actually works to a degree where the content is interdynamic. If I go in and add another post, it's going to appear. It's going to be formatted all correctly, and it's not going to break. And plus, it'll be responsive. So if we go back here and start,
So this is all still a theme, you haven't uploaded it, it's
yeah, this
live.
is all. Yeah, don't you know? Let me kind of take a little tour of WAMP really quick, just so you know if you've ever used it before. WAMP on my machine here runs this little box down here. And what it does is basically it's a little web server that contains solely on your machine. And so when you set it up, you get Apache, which is the web server that's actually used on a larger web server, but it's a more compact version of it. You get PHP, because you need PHP and MySQL to run WordPress at all. You can't just simply drop a static file on your machine and let it run. It won't do it. And what it does is that when you install it, you get to go into the directory and see there is an index file, a test file. There's my WordPress installation. There's my content, my themes, and there's my theme right here. So if you ever had to go in and install WordPress yourself, if you've never done that before, it's a good thing to learn, because if you want to create your own theme, you kind of have to know to go in there and mess with the themes. And it can live in there, and I can just, if I don't like the theme anymore, I can just turn it off and put up one of the other ones. So let me go back to my presentation. I got a few more things I just want to cover before we get through this. Let's see here. Okay. All right, so again, single page, I set that up, we've got that working. So there's the code, kind of part of the code for single posts. You see there's the header, the rows. And then again, here's the loop, getting the posts, and it's only pulling in the posts I want. It only pulls in like 1 post. I don't want a whole bunch of posts in this page, I just want 1. And I want the entire post. Okay, so what you should have when you're done? Well, post should show up in order. You can define that. One thing you gotta watch out for, some people will define, like for here, when I defined 1 static page as my home page, it wasn't working correctly. It was not getting all the proper ones. I had to go in there and make all the posts so it all came through. You can change it where you can set up a static page, like a single page, and make it and mess around with it in Bootstrap and change up your heading or whatever, and make that like a default home page. So you could have like sliders and all the good stuff, and have more boxes for content. And then you click in, you can set up, you can just set up a whole bunch of single pages and just have content on it, and have Bootstrap running that, and then have your blog separately. So that's what some people do, why they use Bootstrap as CMS, or you can use it just as a standard blog. Categories of function, as you saw, the categories work. If things start clicking on things and getting PHP errors, you've got a problem. It's just generally you put a slash when you shouldn't put a slash, or you put a space between. The common error is you have PHP, that when you do a PHP tag, you got to put a PHP, the bracket, and you got to put a question mark. If there's a space in there between there, it will break, and you'll get this PHP error. And so you kind of do it all. The way I troubleshoot is I'll cut out a chunk of code and just copy it to another, like into my clipboard or whatever, and then I'll see if it runs. And if it runs and the code it's okay, I know it's not in there. If it break, if I put the back and break, I can kind of narrow down where the thing is. So I don't want to have to go searching through all the code just to find one error. And sometimes you have error checkers and things like that that'll help you. And if you know how to read the PHP errors, it'll tell you, oh, you've got an error on 15. And if you're using something like Notepad++, you can actually track it down. That's why programmers have such sunny personalities, because they can do that all day. And let's see, sidebars of the page that work. Yeah, like we had there before with that. Responsive design to the functions. You can pull it together, pull it apart, it should work. But again, you can mess around with that if you know more about Bootstrap. And no errors, meaning you shouldn't go through a page and get a big fat 404 or something like that. So if you've got that, you're almost home. Well, what next? Well, you can install the CSS and changes. There's a whole bunch of buttons you can change. So let's say I don't want those buttons. I want those buttons to be, I don't know, I want them nice and looking like candy canes or something like that. Well, if you can create a CSS style, you can style them up. You can modify the Jumbotron, which I'll show you in a second. You can swap out the divs. Again, there's a page that shows all the different grid patterns you can do. And you can actually, let's say, set up a row and say, I want to have one tiny box, a big box, and a little box here, and they fit together, and then they shrink around. It moves like that. Or I can have like 6 different boxes. You can decide it, lay it out. And usually you do that when you're doing the template. Then you add graphics as featured, add more custom pages. Another thing is doing the verse of Bootstrap grid. You can see here, like there's this comes already built in there. You've got 3 equal columns, and this is what calls them. So if you put this into your divs, this is what it'll start doing, and you can decide this out. And you put
you can figure out what one you want to do. So that's where you kind of have to, if you're doing responsive design, you're really thinking about it, you guys start thinking about what's the end user going to do. It's like if you have, let's say you have a news site and you've got all your headlines like this. Well, if you just leave it that way and it shrinks, then suddenly you've got a site that's 60 miles long. If you want to get to the sports section, you got to take your thumb and keep going and going and going. So, and you'll just get carpal tunnel doing that. So what some designers will do is they'll think about, okay, because mobile, well, maybe we cut down the news categories from 10 to 3. So that way we don't have a gazillion divs all stacked on top of each other. So the site goes from being a super long site to being a shorter site. And that's where you can find tutorials on that too, all over YouTube. You've got to kind of think what your user is using. And you got to be careful because, like, what if they're using an iPad? I've had a couple times where we designed the site, looked great on mobile, looked great on desktop, we put it on an iPad, and oh no, everything's goofy looking. Well, guess what? If you've got a whole bunch of users who use iPads, then suddenly your site's going to look goofy to them. And that can impact your, they'll think your site's broken. And so you've got to make sure you kind of think about it, and you got to test. If you have access, if you don't have access to an iPad, find a friend who does, try it out. There's different ways you can do it also just by moving the your browser. Okay, find tutorial online to enhance. Here's CodePen. I'd recommend this site, CodePen.io. This is one example. This guy took Jumbotron and he changed it into an SVG image, and so it's semi-transparent. You can see the stuff through there. And again, the code is all in the HTML. See, there's the look over here. Here's the Jumbotron. My background to give it a custom class, and then yeah, it's an SVG stuff to it. So there's great examples on there. Generally, if you know how to use, does anybody here know how to use Chrome Console or Firebug?
Yeah.
Check out Firebug or Chrome Console. What you can do is you can find a lot of, that's how I learned CSS. It's like go into a site that's really cool and go, how did they do that? Right click, use the Firebug thing, look at CSS and turn on and off the styles and say, oh, they're floating a box this way, and they're adding this transparency class to it, and then they're rounding the corners, and they're calling this background color and doing this. And you can learn a lot if you really want to get into it. And you can do all sorts of crazy stuff with CSS. I think people build, if you want to get really crazy at CSS, you can build like animation stuff. I think people like do dioramas of the solar system that actually move around. It's all done in CSS and vector graphics. Amazing stuff.
Charles, is that site you just showed us, the CodePen, is that free?
Yeah, it's a place where it's kind of a show-off place where people will say, that's where I found, like, you'll see all of these wild examples, like this guy made an atom in CSS. So a little,
Wow.
it was all these little things. What it was just simply 3 static images that were repeated. He rotated them, then he made a little ball that went around the circle. And the way he controlled the ball moving around circles looked like it was moving along the track of it. So it looked like this little atom with all this stuff going on here. Something that probably would have taken a million years to do in Flash, and he did it with 2 months of CSS.
Wow.
Because he kind of knew how to do it. So CodePen's a good place to visit to find all this really cool stuff. And it says fork on there, meaning you can take the someone's project on there if they let you, hey, do your own version of it. And or you can just do what most people do. Free. Yeah, so here's a physical WordPress tavern. They have 18 free WordPress themes built on Bootstrap. Here's one example. But again, you can still see the beginnings of where it started from there, where the guy he kicked up the Jumbotron, but he kind of kept the button, if you notice. And he noticed he's got the 3 boxes there. He probably took the Jumbotron one and styled it up, turned the background colors around, probably slapped another div around there. But you can still see the echoes, the original Bootstrap theme under there. And so, and this is one that they have on there. You can look around and see it. Now, be careful because some of them will say free, but they say they're free for personal use. So you put your website up on it, you're making money off it, they may say, you need to pay me for that, because make sure to read your terms and conditions in the README files. Some people will say, hey, this is free, do whatever you want with it, print it out, make people happy with it, do whatever you want. Other people will say, oh yeah, you can use it if you're, let's say, Bob putting up your, these are my favorite Star Wars figures sites, but the moment you open up, hey, this is my bar, and I make money off of that, we need to pay me for that. And so yeah, make sure to read your terms and conditions. And I'm Charles Gnilka, and you can find me on LinkedIn, Twitter, and I've got such a weird name, you can find me pretty much anywhere on Google. You can visit my way outdated WordPress site, which I really need to sit down and update.
Question about, these then work with all the plugins on WordPress, no problem? Like anything? That's
what you gotta watch out for. Again, what I'm doing here is, this is very basic.
Right.
This is taking the basic framework and slapping it with because you gotta know where to start. You just can't take all that, you can't just drop it in there and make it effectively work.
Right.
It's going to need a little bit of help, and you're going to have to know where to put the files. So basically, now the thing is, if you really are in a rush, the best thing to do is probably to go find a pre-made theme.
Right.
And there are some that are kind of blank starter themes where I work with a couple of designers, and they said they never build anything from scratch. They don't have the time. They got clients, they got money to make, and they have to build everything from scratch. They would never leave work. Their kids would come up, where are you, Daddy?
Yeah.
That they do is they buy pre-made themes, and I see them take like a very basic white theme, like one of the ones I just showed you, and they'll change it all up, and you wouldn't even recognize it. They'll throw some extra boxes in there and make it look all beautiful, but they just don't have time to
And
start
they do
from
that
scratch.
through Bootstrap.
Yeah, you have to know the Bootstrap code. You have to know what's going on in there, and so kind of like, okay, if I put 3 boxes in there, one problem I had with one site was this guy said, okay, we're using this pre-made theme. It's got these 4 little boxes. I want you to have a 5th box. Guess what? There's no code in there for 5 boxes in a row. It's got 4, and I think it's a 6. So I said, you've either got to come up with 2 more boxes, or we just got to forget this whole section.
So Charles, do you want to say something about the, basically what Bootstrap does, not specific to WordPress, and the column layouts?
Yeah, it's a responsive framework.
Okay, so, I'll say it, because I was kind of pointing this. So Bootstrap has 12 columns to lay out. This is why he had the issue with you can't have 5, you can have 4,
yeah,
6. So it's in 2s. So basically everything is laid out. And if you go back about 4 slides there was a thing where you had some code up there.
Let me go take a look, because I think we got internet access here. I'll actually go into.
But basically you have to lay everything out in 12 columns. And then you do rows of things within that. So you've got these rows and columns. So everything, instead of just being a page that you work with, you actually have a whole grid layout. And everything is laid out on this grid. And you first think about it, and it's like, this is backwards. Why am I doing this? I feel like I'm working with tables. Yeah. But it's actually pretty split. You can get some really nice control of your site by doing this. And then, all the JavaScript and the HTML things, you have to go and actually learn how to use all these different styles. And you're going to end up putting them in your code. But once you use them, they're like, oh, this is awesome. In your WordPress, maybe you can create a widget that would add, like
a modal or something, like a pop-up or something.
Anything like that, but you have to build it.
Right.
Typically, you had to put JavaScript pieces together. So, you might have a modal or like a carousel to spin images or something, and maybe they would clash with each other and would break both of them, or maybe they would look funky because they're by 2 different authors. But Bootstrap came along and really streamlined this whole process. Okay. So not only do you get the grid, as you would say, when people say they speak or they know Bootstrap, what they're really saying is they're really familiar with the grid and how it responds on the different devices.
And Bootstrap's not the only game in town. There's also a couple of places, like a couple other frameworks. Gantry is one of them. Skeleton, I think it's Bones, there's another one. There's a whole bunch of others. You just type in CSS frameworks. There's a whole bunch of others. And how do you get those into a WordPress theme? Some of them will come over, some themes will come to be built, and they'll tell you that. They'll say, here's this, parrot from WordPress built on Bones, something like that. So it'll walk you through that. And it'll tell you how that actually works. So the part of this is again, you've got to be able to do it. You got this, if you really want to know, you've got to get in there, you've got to look at the tutorials. And again, the problem is sometimes you're going to find is you're going to hit tutorials and they're going to be, they get you so far, and then you're going to get disappointed because they're going to say it doesn't work all the way. Part of that is that's where you kind of learn how to fix these, because I had to fix some of these things on my own. And I was like, okay, we're going to get in here. Lovely slow internet. Let's get it. Yeah, we'll see if it takes a second to get in there. But it really will. The thing about it is you really kind of have to know a little bit of CSS.
Yeah.
What a float is, what a div is, what these things are. These are not exactly easy concepts to learn now. If you really don't know CSS and you really don't know JavaScript, Code Academy. Code Academy is a little bit frustrating because it is a little kind of tree fort in the way it thinks. It's sort of, if you don't get it, you don't get it.
Con or code?
Code Academy. Yeah. One thing, Code Academy and Khan Academy are not the same thing. Khan Academy, as in Khan, that is a learning site where they teach you about fractions and things like that. It's run by 2 different. Code Academy is a site where you can go on there and get different tracks, and you get to make anything public. And so, do you have a question?
No, I was comment. They actually do add coding features on Khan Academy, not just like math.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good. See, I haven't been to it in a while. I was on there studying astronomy stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a field astronaut.
Who's used Code Academy?
I've used Code Academy.
Pretty nice, really interactive.
And
It's very good.
is it just completely free?
Yeah.
It's free. You sign up for it, you can make your profile public or not. And what it does is that they start you off with like, you can have a very basic track like HTML. Like, I don't know how HTML works. Okay, I took the basic HTML one, but actually I learned something that kind of brushed up on my syntax and stuff like that, because I kept going, where do I put that semicolon? Oh, I put it here, no, I put it here. And it was helping get up with that. The other thing also is that they have ones on JavaScript, and the JavaScript ones I'm not too crazy about because it gets a little complicated. Now, if you get stuck, because there's something what it'll do is it'll say, like, write this piece of code, make it execute properly. If it doesn't execute properly, you don't move on to the next lesson. So you may get stuck in certain lessons and go, I thought I did it correctly, and I did exactly what it told me to do, but it's not working. Go into the forum, and people will go in there and say, okay, here's what I put in, this worked. And it can be a little bit of an annoyance because sometimes you've got a way that actually should work, but it wants you to do it its way. So it's kind of like that. But
Doesn't it give you hints?
it does give you a few hints, but it can be, sometimes again, you can go, you feel like you're on, if you're on a game show, is that my final answer or something like that? You feel like a kid on story. Oh, here we go. Okay, hey, we got in here. Okay, so, all right, these are the things that, there's all these goodies that they tell you with your, let's go take a look at. Okay, so like here is a basic Bootstrap theme, and it's got a hello world, and it's got a bunch of buttons. But there's a basic starter template. There's Jumbotron. There's a narrow version of Jumbotron if you want to do it. So here's a theme example. And so they've given you different buttons, and you can call these buttons using these, and then you get different tables. And so you have, again, these are the labels you can have, and badges. These are all things like drop-down menus. And again, you can go back and style these. Now, generally the way they'll tell you to do it, it's a little tricky, is they don't want you to overwrite the code. Kind of like when you write a theme in WordPress. Are you familiar with the term of child theming? Okay. So yeah, if you get a theme, you don't want to go in there and just sort of rip it apart and putting all this custom CSS in there, because as the theme gets updated, all your stuff gets wiped out. So you don't want that to happen. So you create a child theme, think, okay, that is your basic theme right here. That gets updated. That got all the stuff here, and my phone is dying. And the other part of it is you put all the goodies in there. That way, for one, it separates all the changes up in the main code. So that gets updated. Your child theme left untouched. But then again, you can mess around with it and kind of see, keep all your stuff away from there, because you can, unless you're a super duper common person and you can keep all that stuff separate from in there, yeah, you generally don't want to do that. So the same thing here is with the same thing with the Bootstrap is you can create stuff in here and change around. There's your carousel right there. So that's already built in. So you can add, you can swap out Jumbotron, stick in your slider, and you can style them you want. And people on GitHub and a bunch of other places have all sorts of good. That's how people will sometimes. I've heard from other programs. That's how some programs will job.
The question I get the most is probably.
Someone's not paying attention. No. So, anywho, is my butt's getting shorter. But what you can do is, again, it's just generally you can teach yourself this stuff. It depends how deep you want to go. If you just want to build a basic WordPress site, you might want to go out and find a pre-made theme, find a designer who's generally reliable if you find one, and then say, hey, here's what I want to do. But you can know, the more you know about it, then you can talk to your designer at the same level, saying, hey, I want you to change this to hex colors on this. I'm happy the way it looks, but I want a slider, and I want the slider to have 5 pictures and things of that nature. And that way, you can kind of figure out what they go. Oh, okay, you know what you're actually talking about. Okay, I have to charge you to rate them. So that's one of the things you can figure out. But anyway, it's a lot of stuff. So the thing is, though, I've come from the perspective of where I didn't know about this stuff a couple years ago, and I had to teach myself, and it was a lot of trial and error. And again, finding good people online, like this guy who did YouTube videos, where it actually works. That's my criteria of success. Okay, if I sit there and spend 2 hours of my life, and I get to the end of it, and I don't have any sort of usable product, then you've wasted my time, and I'm not going to get that time back. But if you have a really clear, concise idea of what's going on, then we're good. Any other questions or anything else? Or
I just had a comment that it answers Amanda's question about plugins and widgets.
Yeah.
But I was going to bring this up anyway because in the video, Neil said WP head hook doesn't do much, but maybe it might. And what it does is it lets plugins and widgets work.
Okay.
And not all widgets and plugins call it, but a lot of them do. And when you have a theme where a number of widgets or plugins are failing, one of the first things to do is to check and see if that WP head is there. There's also WP footer, And there are 3 others that I can't think of off the top of my head,
Okay,
but they are actually required for all themes that go into the WordPress repository.
okay.
And, yeah.
Yeah, because our share button, the share button is on my site.
Okay. Are they put in through a plugin?
Yeah.
Then if they're rooted to the correct sites?
Yeah.
Then it's possibly a missing hook. Or
Okay, well, that's where I can start
Yeah.
looking. Okay, great.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
There's the blank Bootstrap thing, sorry.
I'm gonna grab the chair. This is
I had a train of thought.
I'm dying up here on that stool.
Amanda, you had a question like 20 minutes ago or something about like the starter theme using Bootstrap. One of them, I said last month, was Roots. It's pronounced Roots, apparently. Roots.io, which is now also called Sage. It's like one of the premier free boilerplates that uses Bootstrap, I guess. So you can, it basically does all this. It's a really quality WordPress theme that uses Bootstrap.
Well, I like the theme that I have built.
Oh,
I want to go into that theme that is custom theme.
Yeah.
And make these fixes in it.
Does it-
Put these hooks in and, make sure that the code is compatible
Right,
with
right.
WordPress.
Okay.
So that's the fixes them.
Oh, okay, well, never mind then, but for the rest of you,
Thanks.
What is it called? How's it spelled?
R2OsTS.io,
All right.
Roots. They rebranded to Sage. Sage?
Sanjay.
Sage. And it keeps up to date with all the Bootstrap stuff, so you can build your own components, but you have a lot more to work with if you don't want to start completely from scratch.
Anybody have any more questions? If not, there's some more food there. Please help yourself. There's some cups, there's a water fountain down there, there's a soda machine in the corner. You're welcome to stick around and socialize. We have the room for 30 minutes. But I do want to thank Charles for doing the presentation. It was very good. You can go on to the meetup site and rate it. Give it